Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, a powerful earthquake rocks Mindanao anew.
Wala namang taong na-trap doon sa mga buildings na nag-collapse.
Leaving a trail of devastation in Davao del Sur areas.
Gumagalaw na po. Malakas po talaga.
Davao del Sur Governor Douglas Cagas speaks to us from Ground Zero live. And later, charter change moves in the lower house.
This is not an ordinary legislation. This is 3/4 of the House will have to vote for this, and the Senate will also have 3/4.
Paving the way for term extensions to lawmakers. Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus joins us live. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Another destructive earthquake rocks Mindanao barely 2 months after a series of powerful tremors devastated the region in October. The quake was only 3 kilometers deep. Its epicenter was located in Mindanao town, about 74 kilometers south of Davao City. Authorities are still assessing the extent of the damage and number of people affected. Several structures, including a 3-story grocery store in the town of Padada, collapsed. Search operations are now ongoing for persons trapped inside the building. And Paolo Barcelon gives us an update from the town of Padada in Davao del Sur, where a grocery store collapsed and trapped several individuals.
Family members of those presumed trapped in the rubble of the collapsed Southern Trade supermarket are now coming to look for their lost loved ones here in Padada, Davao del Sur. I spoke to the relatives of 2 of them, Elsie Pobar, who was looking for her 31-year-old sister Emily, and Fructuoso Artiaga, the husband of Evangeline Artiaga. Elsie claims Emily was working at the time of the earthquake, while Mr. Artiaga says his wife was merely shopping when the tremor happened. Both have yet to hear from their relatives.
Dati po siya dyan nagtatrabaho, tapos bumalik lang siya. Sabi na pinsan kong lalaki, nakita daw niya yung kapatid ko doon sa kitchen, nagluluto ng siupaw.
Surprise may nga bandang alas 4, hindi pa man dumating. So narinig naman yung balita na may building na
I haven't seen any of the officials from the provincial or the local disaster risk reduction management office approach them, but we can confirm that at least 10 people are reported injured here in Padada, 6 from the grocery and 4 from a water reservoir within the town that also collapsed as a result of the quake. Officials aren't putting a number nor are making claims as to the exact figure, but they are now calling the operations behind me as a search and retrieval operation. In Padada, Davao del Sur, Paulo Barcelon, CNN Philippines.
The magnitude 6.9 earthquake that hit Davao del Sur yesterday afternoon is so far the strongest in a series of major tremors to strike the Mindanao region in the past 2 months. Over 200 aftershocks have been recorded so far. This morning, a magnitude 4.3 quake struck the same location. Intensity 4 is reported in Kidapawan City from this quake at 3 a.m. In this video taken in General Santos City, we can see how strong the shaking was as the water in this pool spills during the quake.
So ngayon nandito po at the moment po this is Sunga Hospital. So lahat lumabas po yung mga kasi dahil sa lindol, napakalakas ng lindol po. So ayan po siya, nakita niyo mga talagang ayan. So grabe. So this is in the Sunga Hospital po. Lumabas na po lahat yung mga grabe yung lindol. So, Mami, kumusta ang baby?
Okay lang.
Okay lang, kamusta yung paglindol?
Nagpanik.
Nagpanik kayo, natakot?
Okay, let's go straight to the source of the story. Right now we have the Davao del Sur Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Officer Christopher Tan. Mr. Tan, welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, good morning po ma'am. Ma'am Pinky, good morning po.
Magandang umaga po sa inyo. Sir, ano na po ang latest sa Davao del Sur?
Actually ma'am, ongoing ang aming search and retrieval operations dito sa Southern Trade grocery store sa municipality of Padada. We have already taken out 2 cadavers, patay And now ongoing sila, pero parang sabi ng mga retrieval, gamit ang mga equipment, we have detected parang may heartbeat na isa. So hopefully we are strategizing kung paano namin siya mapalabas and hopefully makasurvive siya.
It's sad to hear that, sir, but I need to clarify that you said 2 have been taken out of that grocery,
Yes,
confirmed
ma'am.
dead.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But meron pong isa that you're hoping na mahanap po kayong buhay?
Yes, ma'am. Kasi doon sa equipment, nakita namin na parang na-detect namin na may heartbeat. So we are trying to strategize on how to get her or him out
Opo.
sa collapse na building po.
Sir?
Hopefully he or she can survive.
Yeah, we're hoping for that as well. Could you help us understand, sir, gaano ho ba kahirap yung search and I heard you say retrieval, sir, hindi po rescue?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Napakahirap po, ma'am, kasi habang pumapasok ka sa building, yung mga responder natin, may patuloy po ang aftershocks dito, ma'am. So, it's very difficult talaga kasi hindi basta-basta na pangapasok kasi from 3-story building, naging 1-story na lang siya. Yung third floor niya, yun na yung naging first floor niya. So, napakahirap pumasok dahil po sa aftershocks na nararanasan pa rin namin hanggang ngayon. Pero hopefully, sana huminto na and mapatuloy namin ang aming search and rescue and retrieval operations.
So right now, tigil ho ba?
Patuloy, ma'am, patuloy. Nag-strategize na kami on how to get yung isa na heartbeat na na-detect namin.
Because it's a race against time also, no, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I was trying to understand the situation because if it's a 3-story building, pero napakalakas po kasi ng earthquake 6.9, parang ang lumalabas, sir, dumapa yung first and second at gaya ng
Yes,
sinabi mo, si third floor ang naging first floor.
Yes, ma'am.
At
Bumagsak
patuloy
siya.
yung pangamba nga dahil patuloy yung pagyanig dyan sa
Yes
area.
po, ma'am.
Sir, ilan ho ba in total ang nakuha na? Ilan ho ba ang hinahanap pa dyan sa grocery store sa Southern Trade?
Actually, ma'am, kahapon nakuha na namin yung 4 na nakasurvive. And kaninang umaga, nakakuha kami ng 2 cadaver. Hindi namin masabi, kasi kahit na yung may-ari ng department store, hindi niya masabi kung ilan ang tao na nandun
Opo.
during na nag-collapse yung building.
Yeah. I guess that's going to be the problem, sir. But
Yes,
are
that's
they
really
saying...
one of the biggest problem namin ngayon na kung ilan ang nasa loob.
Pero meron ho bang numero kayong tinitingnan, an estimate in terms of possibly, sir, yung mga empleyadong nandun? At least on that, you can start with that, ilan ang
Ang
empleyado?
sabi sa akin ng mayor at saka ng MDRRMO nila, yung disaster nila, may parang mga 10 to 15 na tao sa loob. So
Okay.
yun yung ini-expect namin. So hopefully, mas maliit pa dyan.
Opo. And the thing is, Mr. Tan, posible po kung 10 man to 15 yan, ay may nakalabas na hindi nyo na-account for.
Most probably, ma'am. Pero since naka-cordon ang area, after nung bumagsak siya, wala pang nakalabas na hindi namin na-account kasi naka-cordon ang area at
Opo.
nakita na namin
I see,
na
sir.
wala talaga.
How's the situation yung panahon ngayon? Dahil I understand yesterday na pahirap man din po dahil umulan ata, hindi ho naging maganda ang panahon as well.
Kung ngayon, ma'am, medyo makulimlim siya, pero although hindi siya umuulan, pero makulimlim siya, and hopefully hindi bumagsak ang ulan para mapatuloy namin yung search and rescue and retrieval operations po natin.
May I ask also, sir, meron pa ho ba kayong areas na tinitingnan maliban po dyan sa Southern Trade Grocery?
Dito sa municipality of Padada, wala na. Pero doon sa municipality of Matanao, which is one of the hardest hit also, problema din doon ang tubig nila at saka ang power nila, no. Secondly, yung barangay ng Kulon Sabak at barangay Asbang, may reported na landslide and hopefully wala naman reported na casualty pero pinupuntahan na namin ng heavy equipment to clear the roads para madaanan yung 2 barangay na yun.
Okay, maraming salamat po to you, Sir Christopher Tan, PDRRMO. Thank you, sir. Also joining me here in the studio is Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus Rodriguez, Congressman. Such horrible news, of course.
Yes, definitely.
But Cagayan de Oro City was hit, pero
Very
mahina lang ata.
mild tremor, and we have no report of damages. I was there yesterday, and we felt that, and we felt that, but it was not very strong.
Yeah. Any areas, sir, or were there any concerns from your constituents regarding that earthquake? Even if I understand, sir, you're saying na medyo mahina. I think when I saw it, sir, it was at intensity 2 in
Yes,
Cagayan
again,
de Oro.
it's not so strong, but we're still probably some buildings will have to be assessed by the city officials, building officials. So we cannot take this into chance, and so we have to make sure that even if it's only intensity 2 or more, a little more, but we have to make sure that the buildings are safe.
Because when you look at Mindanao, sir, it's been rocked by a series
Yes,
of earthquakes the past couple of months.
That's correct.
That's why the integrity of the buildings must be looked into and assessed already.
Definitely, that should be the proper course to do to ensure that buildings which have really gotten so much damage should not be used anymore. And during the last earthquake, Cagayan de Oro's Court of Appeals had to stop operations because the building that they were renting, the YMCA, was declared later on to be unfit now for office space. Yes.
Okay. We'll continue to get more updates on, well, of course, Davao del Sur and the search and rescue or retrieval operations. We'll be taking a short break coming up. The House of Representatives is pushing for charter change, but is this paving the way for term extension? This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. The House of Representatives moving forward with their proposal to push for charter change and extending the terms in office of elected officials, including congressmen and senators. A lawmaker appeals to their Senate counterparts to keep an open mind on the move, but senators already saying that they will not prioritize amending the Constitution. Let's go straight to the source of the story. House Committee Chair on Constitutional Amendments in Cagayan de Oro, Representative Rufus Rodriguez. Again, sir, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay,
Thank
let's
you.
get straight to this. Was this passed by your committee discreetly or secretly?
No, definitely not. We invited always the opposition and the Makabayan Bloc. They have been with us for the past 5 hearings, public hearing. We believe that it was about time to already vote on it because this issue has been discussed since 4 presidents already have been having this, and it has been well discussed by the business sector, by the academy, and everyone. So it was a time to get a vote, but they were there, and they of course, again, had their positions heard in that executive session.
Is that enough, Congressman, 5 hearings to look into changes in the Constitution?
Definitely, because as I have said,
This has been
since
looked at before.
the 15th Congress, this has always been heard already. All the previous Congresses, they've already their road shows, their consultations all over the country. And we did the same. We had in Mindanao, Visayas, and 3 in Luzon. So it's about time.
Then let me take the opposite side on that, sir. It's been discussed since the time of President Ramos, and yet it never really saw the light of day. Does this possibly mean, sir, that the people don't like this?
No, not really. There was just really, for example, now, it is not a priority of the Senate, as they have said. That's why we are requesting them to keep an open mind and study thoroughly. Because first, on the economic provisions, certainly we need to already put flexibility in the constitutional prohibition on
Foreign
investments.
ownership.
We need FDIs, foreign direct investments. We are now lagging behind about 7 countries, 6 countries in the Southeast Asia. We're just a little above Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. Vietnam has overtaken us in FDIs. That's why there's growth there, higher growth than the Philippines, even in Vietnam. Because, for example, the foreign direct investments in Singapore, 50 billion, in Indonesia, 24 billion, here in Vietnam, already 15 billion. We are now running at only 7 to 8 billion. That is why there is
And
less.
the answer is relaxing the foreign
Relaxing
ownership.
it and allowing it like the other ASEAN countries, because we are the only country in the ASEAN where the prohibition is in the Constitution.
Yeah.
So that means that there is no way that we can invite more investors because our own constitution prohibits it. That's
No,
why,
sir, we can invite investors, but they cannot own more than 40%.
And
That-
investments, if you are only 40%, businessmen will always look at some control because they'll be giving their money
Yeah.
and they're not in control. So that
They
is
don't have
why
majority.
in other countries of Southeast Asia, there's a lot of investments because they were allowed by their Congress and parliaments to have this
So,
investments.
in the economic provision, sir, you wanted this phrase, but unless otherwise provided by
That's
law.
correct.
That's it.
That's it.
all you want
That's
to
all.
put there.
We are not lifting anything. We're just we're saying that let us not put this as a constitutional prohibition because that is rigid.
But isn't that tantamount to lifting it already when you say unless otherwise
No,
provided by law?
because-
Because you just have to make a law that will allow it, right,
Yes,
sir?
there will be a law that will consider when the Congress would consider specific areas of investment. They will have to seek, of course, the advice of NEDA, the finance, the trade and industry. So, Pinky, this will give us more leeway in seeing which industry we should now open so that there will be more employment to our people.
Good point to raise now, sir,
Yes.
with the problem or the controversy on the NGCP, for example. Questions on China owning 40% and saying that they can possibly shut down. Is this the perfect time to really relax the economic provisions?
Precisely. This is 60-40, only 40% for China. Now, if there will be laws in Congress, there will be certain national security, the NSA will also have a say in having this. So there will be some industries that we may not allow foreign. That's why it will have to be Congress. For example, communications. We cannot allow China to get over 40% and control it.
So no to
So,
telecoms, okay?
Probably in that is why we are going to say that. But other public utilities, we should be able to open up and including the development of natural resources.
Sir, let me just ask, ano ho ang dapat hindi i-relax ang foreign ownership? You said telecommunication?
We are saying that the Congress, I am not, I have my personal opinion, but the Congress precisely, this committee approval is just by the committee.
Yeah.
There will be a constituent assembly, Pinky, once the Committee on Rules will send it to the plenary because we will convert ourselves from an ordinary lawmaking body into a constituent assembly to discuss this. And 302 congressmen will be able to participate. And for those groups, associations, or persons who have some ideas or would oppose this or suggest this, you can go to their congressmen and be able for them to bring this out. We are open to discussions on this.
When do you want to take this on the floor, sir?
We hope that the Committee on Rules this week may be able to take our committee report, and we are going to resume. We're going to have a break up to this coming Thursday, and we will resume on January 20.
Okay.
So probably in the last week of January, we might be able to discuss this. So this is still open. There is nothing rigid about this. It's open for more discussion.
And we're still going to discuss this because term extension also very controversial.
Yes.
After the break, we'll be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus. Sir, let's just start with a term extension.
sir.
You want to call it no what, sir?
There's no term extension because all of us, the congressmen, the local government officials, will go through elections in 2022.
Okay.
If there's any approval of this increase of the number of years of the term of local officials, mayors, vice mayors, councilors, governors, vice governors, provincial board members, and representatives, this will have to be after 2022. And that is why there's
Sir,
a false
some
news.
senators. Hindi mo sinabi.
Yeah, the senators
also.
naman, the senators were trying to have senators elected by region.
Yeah.
That is why I'm appealing to the senators to think about this.
Okay.
Because we need to have really representation from all the regions of our country.
Sir, let's talk about the term extension
Yes.
after 2022. What you're clarifying is there's no term extension now, but if
yes.
approved, there will be term extension. And it will be 5 years
Yes.
for 3 consecutive terms. In
terms.
other words, I can have you as my congressman for 15 years.
Yes, 15
if you're-
years. Right now, it's 9 years.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is 3 years is very short for congressmen and local officials. So you make it 5 for them to be able to perform well. Now, for the local officials, to make sure that bad ones cannot continue in power, there will be recall provisions in the local government code to recall those who are sleeping on the job.
What would be the reasons for a recall?
Well,
Kasi ang recall dito, sir, because questions
recall-
on the voting and
yes,
counting.
the recall will be because of malfeasance in office, nonfeasance, failure to perform. That is a matter for the jurisdiction to be able to push.
Okay, so I understand you're saying, sir, 3 years is too short a time for a congressman, for example, like you. But why make it 3 terms? Why just not make it 2 terms of 5 years? So it's 10 years in total.
We believe that there should be a sufficient time for a congressman to carry over for example, 15 years. You know, we are the only country also, Pinky, that has term limits. But fine, we will have that. In most countries, there is no term limit because it is always a matter of the choice of the people to vote. And for good ones, they continue to win. Now, with these term limits, you know, wives come in, children come in.
True.
So these are the things that are realities. So that's why we're saying that kung good ka, and you have been performing very well, you can go on. But still tayo, we will have only 15 years.
Until your wife runs.
after
Or your daughter
15 years.
or your
That is
son-in-law.
the problem.
Yeah.
Because of term limits, yes.
But sir, what makes it better to have 15 years than 9 years now, sir?
To have more time, for example, for our local officials and congressmen to really perform. Because even at 9 years talaga, it's very short. That's why we are saying that anyway, they will go to the crucible of elections. Hindi naman ito by nomination eh. Mag-i-election naman tayo eh. If the people want them to continue, then they will have the 15 years.
We have a minute left, sir. Use the senators. You want it voted per
By region.
And there will be 9 regions.
There will be 9 regions because, you know, our brothers, Muslim brothers, are shut out of the Senate. Regions, some are Leyte, Region 8, Region 9, Zamboanga Peninsula, some regions in Luzon. We are saying that just like the American experience, you know, America, they have House of Representatives, fine. These are by district in accordance with population. But their highest body, which will also approve the budget, the Senate, 50 states. The smallest ones, Delaware, Connecticut, has the same 2 senators like 2 senators from California and New York. Why? Because they want to equalize really the benefits for all the states in the United States developing. Now tayo dito, wala. Most of our senators are in Metro Manila.
Yeah.
So I think they will also have the roots in different regions. So they should now be voted by the region. That is also part of federalism, part of what you call the rule of subsidiarity. It will now be the region to decide who will represent them to the Senate. That is the rule of subsidiarity under a federal, we are trying to have some federal aspects here in these amendments.
Okay, I wish we had more time, but we don't. Congressman, we'll guest you again next year when you start the plenary debate,
Yes,
or sometime right after that.
Thank you very
It's
much.
good to talk about this more thoroughly, sir.
Yes.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Thank you very much,
Congressman
Pinky.
Rufus Rodriguez, thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank you
for
for
the
joining
opportunity.
us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.